sometimes Srila Guru Maharaj would say, because many things can be said about this, and we'll try to say some of them, but as an overview, or as a general principle, he would say that it means putting yourself under the guidance of a superior devotee. Because there may be many things that we can talk about or discuss, but essentially what is happening is you're placing yourself under the guidance of a superior Vaishnava. And actually, Krishna consciousness, beginning, middle, and end is about that. So sometimes Guru is described as Asraya Vigraha, which translates as that personality of whom you must take shelter. The Guru principle, in principle, is Krishna revealing himself to you. We were just discussing this before, that once, rather enigmatically, in Vrindavan, Srila Gurudev once said to me, he said, if Krishna doesn't want to reveal himself to someone, then why should I? And that was a peculiar statement coming from someone who's connecting so many people with Krishna. But he was saying from another point of view, he was addressing what needs to be understood is that Krishna's divine will has to be in the background. This is what is most important, is that it is the will of Krishna to reveal himself to someone. It's Krishna's will to make himself known to someone. And that means to the degree, through a particular agency, all the different things that we may consider. In the background has to be Krishna's will. And we're trying to sync our will with the will of Krishna. So in a basic understanding, Srila Guru Maharaj himself says, when he was preaching once, some man said to him, if the infinite can be known by the finite, it's not infinite. And Guru Maharaj responded by saying, if the infinite cannot make himself known to the finite, he's not infinite. And therein lies our prospect, back to the will of Krishna. If the infinite wants to make himself known to the finite, not only will it happen, but nothing can obstruct that divine flow. Not any perceived lack of qualification on the receiver or any opaque intermediary. If it's Krishna's will to reveal himself, it will happen. But then the question will come, well, what about from our side? What sort of acceptance shall there be from our side? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprajnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. Here he's describing three aspects that you need to know about approaching Guru. They think, first, on your side, tadvidi pranipatena means explaining the substance behind bowing or approaching the lotus feet of the Guru. Like sometimes Western people say, why is there so much bowing in Asia? They're bowing in Japan, they're bowing in China, they're bowing in India, they're touching people's feet. What is this? They think it's something humiliating, less than dignified. Right? it's demeaning. Right? Someone's in a superior, because their whole idea is predicated on this idea. Everyone's equal. Right? Man, woman, child, everyone's just equal. No one should be doing anything like that. It's kind of a humanistic, humanism. Just, you don't have to say more than that. It's humanism. It's a humanistic notion. But what it is, at the basis of it, is acknowledging that I'm approaching a superior. And this is not only an Eastern thing, this has been there in the West also. It's still in the West, but maybe not as much as before. The idea that there's a student and a teacher, and the student should be respectful in their approach to the teacher. And even the primary teacher. When the children go to school, the parents tell them to treat the teacher with great respect. Because they know if they treat the teacher with great respect, they're going to learn. If they tell them, actually, your teacher is just a young girl. Right? You have some little children, maybe the teacher's 18, 19, 20 years old. They go, actually, she's just a young girl. She doesn't know so much either. I mean, she knows what she needs to teach you, but she's deficient in many different ways. If they give the children the impression that they don't have to take her seriously, they're not going to learn anything. They're not going to benefit in that relationship. So pranipatena means bowing is the acknowledgement that my highest aspect, which we generally take physically to be the head, we can say the head, mind, intellect, heart, whatever you want to say. I'm bowing the highest aspect of myself to the least aspect of the guru world, of the spiritual world. So I'm taking the highest aspect of me, offering it, subordinating it to the least aspect. That's the proper approach. And we're interested in the culture of faith called Shraddha. It says, Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kohe Sudrida Nishchoy Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. What is faith defined as? Belief that if I just dedicate my energy in this one place, I don't have any other obligation. That by knowing one thing, everything will become known. By gaining one thing, everything will be got. That's a great advertisement. Is it possible? Is it true? Another sloka comes to answer that question. Just as when you pour water on the root of a tree, the trunk, through the trunk, the branches, the leaves, everything is nourished. So similarly, you dedicate all your focus and serving energy in the lotus feet of Guru, then you'll get everything through that act alone. So, it says, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprajnena sevaya. Pariprajna means to inquire. So we'll respectfully approach Guru and inquire, ask a question on the basis of service necessity. Unlike mundane knowledge, which is meant to serve you. Like someone goes to school, the classic example, they'll say, go to school, get educated so you can get a good job. Your knowledge will serve you with financial reward. Here, told, you'll become a servant of the knowledge that is extended to you. It's not to serve your lower purpose, but now you're coming in connection with a sort of knowledge that will require you to serve its higher purpose. So it's different. Respectful approach to the teacher is still there, but here's knowledge not out of curiosity or some perceived benefit I'll get materially from acquiring this, but rather I'm offering myself in service to what is being extended to me. So there's two things. But then the third, it says, Jnaninas tattvadarshina. Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. Who should you approach? They're described as, and upadekshanti, who should you get initiated by? Those who are tattva darshi. Like, some may be familiar with the word darshan. It comes from the Sanskrit word to see. People think, oh, darshan means you go to see someone. That's one idea. But actually, the word darshan is also synonymous with philosophy, or a way of seeing, a viewpoint. So the primal guru mantra says, Om Ajnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. The disciple is saying, is glorifying the guru as one who gifted them with a new way of seeing. In fact, they're saying in this sloka, my eyes were covered with cataracts, cataracted by ignorance. Is not properly estimating who am I, what is the world, and what is my place in the world, what is the purpose, what is meaningful, what is a meaningful life, what is an examined life, what is a meaningful life, what is the goal of life. All of these things, not based upon short-term perceived interest, prayas, but shreyas, ultimate, long-term benefit. What is ultimately beneficial for me? And that is an allusion to our spiritual identity. So, in that sloka, the disciple is praising the guru, saying, my eyes were cataracted by acquired prejudice, right? Misconception. And the guru surgically removed those cataracts from my eyes. So now that I can see my spiritual identity, my spiritual potential, and what is the meaning and purpose of my life. So tattva darshi, tattva here means truth, darshi means those who are seeing and experiencing the truth. Srila Guru Maharaj again makes an interesting, some interesting observations about this word, because drishi, within this, seeing, there's the word drishi, rishi, like we've heard of rishis sometimes. The great sages of India are called rishis. Guru Maharaj points out, they are not, the Sanskrit word for creation is sarshti. They're not creating something, they're not manufacturing something. Like an author, a philosopher of this world creates something from their imagination. Saying rather, drishi, rishis means who are seeing, they've observed something. They've observed, seen the truth, and they're sharing those observations. That's what it is. So, those who are seeing and experiencing the truth, they're Sadhu, Shastra, Guru, Vaishnava, these things, the revealed truth in the form of the scriptures, and saints, we're told, are living scriptures. They're qualified. Just like if a lawyer, in the class, like a stock photo of a lawyer, you'll see the lawyer at the desk sitting in front of a wall of law books. Right? And the idea being, you approach this person and they're familiar, intimately, comprehensively familiar with what's in those books, and they're going to extract from those books what is relevant to your case, to your situation. And you say, so the revealed truth is like that wall of books, all these scriptures. So the saints are like living scriptures. They understand substantially what the content is, And it's not some sort of passive substance. It's a passive posing of a book, but there's spiritually conscious substance within the pages of these books. So we want a living interpretation through a living agent that's relevant to our life, the life we're living. Living truth through a living agent that's relevant to the life you're living. That we want. That is what we need. So, another verse Guru Maharaj liked to quote in this regard says, Vidyadbi sevita shadbi nityam advesha ragibi hridayena bhinu gyato yodarmastha nibodhata. And again, these qualifications, the familiarity with the revealed truth in the form of the scriptures, some a detached position from mundane pursuit and mundane activities. And this, the last part of this is interesting. It says, Hridayena bhinu gato. How do you know? Right? This is a big question. Here it says, Hridayena bhinu gato. The heart will know. So on the checklist, we're saying the revealed truth, living, interpretation, all these other things. But then how do you know? Saying your heart will recognize that. And then you say, what if I'm wrong? Sometimes my heart I thought about some particular relationship that the heart is supposed to know about, and it was wrong. I was wrong. Right? I've lived and learned to say, I was wrong. My heart was deceived, or I deceived myself. I'm not sure. So I don't want this to happen for this type of choice, that I'll impose some idea I have of what is a guru. What I have some romantic idea of what is a guru, some stereotypical idea, criteria of what a guru should be, and then I'm going to impose that on a particular person and say, oh, that's my guru. Or on the basis of some sentimental notion. Like Guru Maharaj told the story of where we call it the lady and the mullah. The mullah meaning the Muslim priest, teacher. He's lecturing on the Quran, and there's one lady in the back. Tears are, and he's speaking, and she's crying. And at the end, it's piqued his interest. Like, he calls her forward and said, Madam, what is it about my talk that moved you so much? And she said, oh, I used to have a little she-goat, and she had a beard just like yours, and when she would eat her food, her head would move, and just the way you move your head would move. And I miss her so much. So, so there's the stereotype or the imposition. We're imposing. We don't want to do that. So what are we left with is our sincerity. Krishna and Arjuna have a similar conversation in Bhagavad Gita. And Arjuna's wondering not only some of the things that you said, but he's thinking, what about also, I dedicate myself to this, I pursue this, and I don't achieve perfection. Then all that time I could have been cultivating like my mundane life. I put all that time and energy in spiritual cultivation, but I didn't achieve perfection there. It seems like I lose out in both worlds. And a famous sloka, Krishna says, Nahi kalyana krit kaschid durgatim tatagacchati. He said, that which is kalyan means auspicious, or as I said before, ultimately beneficial. Saying to whatever degree you get involved in this, it's good for you permanently. Whereas even materially, if you cultivate something perfectly, it will be taken away from you or you will vanish. One or the other is going to happen. Like I mentioned sometimes about the Chanson, the Russian songs. Where what I like, I've heard a little bit here and there, but what I like about them is they have this type of, you might call it cynicism or skepticism, depending on your point of view. But it's this theme where they say, well, maybe everything's going good today, but tomorrow, because this is Russia, we're not talking about the rest of the world. You could wake up tomorrow dead, in jail, under investigation. Everything could be gone. So it's kind of, be humble. And prepare yourself for the worst. There's something good about that. When you're living in a world that's characterized by birth, death, old age, and disease. So, spiritually speaking, so that sloka, Guru Maharaj, he expressed it, he rendered it in his own way, sort of condensed it and paraphrased it. And this is the key point. He would say, sincerity is invincible. If you are sincere, you will be victorious. If I am sincere, if I do not deceive myself, then no one can deceive me. Because we're told, well, we should be careful. Yes, we should be careful. When he's saying, but who you really need to be careful about is you. So he said, we have a strong tendency towards self-deception. That's why we're here. We deceived ourselves. I say, well, why did we come? You deceived yourself, I deceived myself. Once some devotees were talking with Srila Guru Maharaj, and one of them was thinking about people in the world. And he said, I'm sad for all those innocent people in the world. And they're suffering. And Guru Maharaj said, there are no innocent people here. He said, we have all betrayed our Lord. So this is the world of betrayers. We think, no, but aren't little babies innocent? They look innocent. But even their mothers know, like within a short time, they're already, expressing their non-innocent nature, even at a very early age. So, but anyway, so the point is, we have this strong tendency towards self-deception. So we know, I have a tendency to make the wrong choice. How am I going to save myself from that? Often I make the wrong choice. And we're being told that the original choice was a bad one. And that's why I'm in the material world. In the marginal position between the spiritual world and material world, did you want to, serve in heaven or reign in hell? You say, could I hear more about the reign in hell part? Do I get a crown or what's it going to be? How much do I get to own? So we're here on account of bad choices. So when it comes to this all-important choice, we don't want to be wrong. But can we then say, I'm going to eliminate my free will and choice and just someone else will make that choice for me? It can't be that way. So it means we have to hear from the Vaishnavas, hear the scriptures. Someone's particular representation will right, sympathetically vibrate in our heart, and with a bowed head and folded palms, we'll make a choice. And under the guidance of others too, or who are reliable. We're not beyond consulting with others. But ultimately, it's a personal choice that you have to make. And Guru Maharaj is saying, if you're sincere, you'll be all right. So it's in your hands what you will do, whom you will choose. Once Guru Maharaj said to me, when I was coming in closer connection with his holy lotus feet, and we had discussed many, many things, and he said, I can't believe he said this, but he did say it. He said, and we're alone. Because someone wanted to know why he's so special. They thought they had connection with different gurus, and we've heard so many things are being said. You're such a great guru, and you have some special recognition from Saraswati. All these, and the devotees are saying like, prove it, show me. And so Guru Maharaj told me to take some chairs to a hidden place, and then to bring that person. And so there was Guru Maharaj, and there was that person, and I was there. And then he explained to him the hidden meaning of the Gayatri mantra, which I'm not going to go into now, but that's what he explained to him. One of the most ancient mantras of Vedic culture. He revealed its secret hidden meaning, right? Which there's not a second person who's giving that. Anyway, after that, when that person left, and we were having some discussion, and Guru Maharaj said to me, you shall be careful that I also will not cheat you. And I thought, this is the only honest person I've ever met. Because everyone else is saying they won't cheat me. And he's telling me I should be careful that he also will not cheat me. At that point, I think it was complete. So two things are there. Your side, recognizing, and then the recognition from the other side, from the upper world. What we're told at the beginning says the Shravan Dasha, hearing. That's all important. By hearing, then different impressions are coming to the heart. Then acceptance. Next, acceptance of the disciple and guru, and then the initiation. But really, Guru Maharaj is also told that saying, Krishna conception should be allowed to land in the heart. It's entering through the ear. There's a sound is all. We have to be very careful about what sounds we listen to, because sound goes to the heart. Pravishta karna randrena swanam bhavam suroruham dunoti shamalam Krishna shaliyasya yata sharat. Srila Saraswati Thakur was initiating someone, and this man in wartime was a spy by occupation. So Saraswati Thakur was inspired to give some sort of like military example. So he said to him, Krishna conception should be allowed to land in your heart. He said, just the way the Navy carries the army in a boat, and then they reach the shore, then the boat opens up and all the soldiers come out, And then they plant the flag of that country, and claim that land, and then gradually they start capturing more land and more land and more land. So Saraswati Thakur said, let the Krishna conception land in your heart. Krishna will plant his flag there, and then he said, and Krishna says, all these others, the other desires, you're all trespassers. Get out. And then the fight begins between Krishna conception and Mayak misconception, misconceived identities, acquired prejudices, acquired tendencies. It's a fight that goes on. But then Krishna starts capturing more and more heart. And he said, and Krishna, he won't tolerate a lean holder. I mean, like someone with all right, 80% of the heart is Krishna, 20%. He's not that type of person. He says, I declare this whole heart belongs to me and me alone, and my devotees. So when is the flag planted? Jnane prayasamudapasanamanteeva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya bhartam. When we hear Krishna conception from a substantial agent, the flag of Krishna conception is planted in your heart, and the rest is a formality. And gradually Krishna conception will take over the whole heart. So the experts say, when they identify that that has taken place, they say, today or tomorrow, that person will get everything. It's just a matter of time. They're not even interested in the time calculation at that point. Yadanucharita lila karna piyusha viprut sadkrida danda viduta danda dharma vinashta. Srimati Radharani herself says, one drop of this talking about Krishna can dissolve all the misconceptions of the heart and all illusions, everything, and you're finished. If it is the will of Krishna to distribute himself, Sri Krishna Namatmaka, in the form of his holy name. It's amazing how through sound, the complete conception of the infinite enters the heart. Through something that appears to be finite, a finite sound, the sum total of the infinite appears. Krishti Kritachetasam Sumanasam Uchchatanam Changhasang Atchandala Mukalo Kusulabo Basha Chamukti Sriya No Diksham Na Chasatkriyam Na Purushcharjam Managikshate Mantroyam Rasanas Prageva Palati Sri Krishna Namatmaka. Krishna, he just springs out of the soil according to his own necessity. Once Saraswati Thakur said it was like cow breeding. Because Krishna is a cowherd. Sometimes he's called Govinda or Gopal. So, and we've seen this, they have a bull and then cows. And with the potent bull, they generate more and more and more cows without any consideration of, like, this is a high-class Swiss cow, from Porrentruy in Switzerland. This is a street cow. This is Indian cow. This cow, that cow. They have a potent source, and they're generating more and more. So Krishna conception, coming in connection with the potent source and being a fertile recipient, the Bhakti Lata Bij. What is required in terms of faith? Once Srila Prabhupada said, if someone will just say, oh, let me hear what these people have to say. if that type of simple-hearted approach, the devotees are saying, let me hear what they have to say. That type of approach. Any other question? Or did that answer your question, basically?
Not basically.
Oh.
I was listening to a lecture about Bhagavad Gita and I had this question because he was giving a name like Sri Krishna Chaitanya.
Yes.
And I don't hear anything about Mahaprabhu. So just where this name comes from.
Oh, why is he called Mahaprabhu? Oh, I see. Okay. But I like the other part too. His name is Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Because it's some brilliant thing that Srila Prabhupada did to term this Krishna consciousness. It seems, we take this so for granted, it seems so simple. But Guru Maharaj is pointing out, it's Krishna Chaitanya. Because if you say Chaitanya, means consciousness. And Krishna Chaitanya, we don't want to get in all the details here, but so Krishna Chaitanya, rendered in English, is Krishna consciousness. So Guru Maharaj says, following that theme, when it comes time for Chaitanya, for Keshava Bharati to give Mahaprabhu his name, he says, basically, because you are Krishna consciousness personified, and your whole sannyas persona and vigraha is to give Krishna consciousness to others, your name will be Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Right? So, and interestingly, around that, before that was giving the sannyas mantra, the Mayavadi mantra is Tattvamasi, like thou art that, it's translated as sometimes, or that Brahman, that divine, what is divine, you are that. But before he was going to give the mantra, because he's giving the Mayavad style at that time, Mahaprabhu says, oh, I heard the mantra in a dream. Is this the mantra? And Mahaprabhu says to him, Tat Tvamasi. But when he says it, it means something different. It means, I am his. It's Gopi Bhav, saying, I belong to Krishna. So the words are the same, the sounds are the same, but the conception has changed. That's what's all important. What conception are you getting from the heart to heart? What's being infused from one heart to the other? The concept, the feeling, the mood, the love behind the words. That's why you have to go to an authentic source. On this point about Prabhu, Mahaprabhu, I just feel compelled to say this, that, well, first of all, it's true, if you read Chaitanya Charitamritam and Chaitanya Bhagavat, you'll see it says, Prabhu Kohe. Prabhu means the Lord. The Lord said, Prabhu Kohe, Kohe Hari, Maha Mantra and these different slokas. Always saying Prabhu Kohe. It doesn't say Mahaprabhu said, it doesn't say Sri Krishna Chaitanya, it says, most of the time, it says Prabhu Kohe, the Lord said. So, but there's Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu. It's like you read Srimad Bhagavatam, sometimes Bhagavan means Balaram, sometimes it means Krishna, sometimes it means Vyas, sometimes it means Sukha, sometimes it means Dronacharya, Bhagavan Drona, Bhagavan Badarayani, Bhagavan Badarayana, Bhagavan Narada. It can mean different things. So the devotees, when we mean Sri Krishna Chaitanya, we'll say Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, but Mahaprabhu will mean Gauranga, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, like that. And Guru Maharaj loved to chant. Sometimes he just say, Mahaprabhu, his own version of Prabodhananda Saraswati's Chaitanya Chandramritam slok, where he say, Mahaprabhu Gauranga Sundara Nagara Bara Nityam Nijar Namabi. He could just say this like his own mantra over and over and over again. Mahaprabhu Gauranga Sundara Nagara Bara Nityam Nijar Namabi. Where it says, he is taking his own name and singing and dancing in Navadvip. And I want to say one other thing, which is that in Radha Kunda, many years ago, and one of the first times I went there was someone there who was acting as a guide for devotees, rightly or wrongly, we can say. And later I found out their spiritual lineage, and I'm not going to go into all of that right now, but he was telling me at the time what the so-called Radha Kunda Babajis, what their objections were about Gaudiya Math, or things they found unacceptable. And one of them was calling each other, the males, Prabhu. Someone, Krishnadas Prabhu. And he said, here it's only Advaita Prabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Mahaprabhu. Because Prabhu, in many, if not most places, is reserved for Guru. Only Guru is called Prabhu. So sometimes you will hear someone say, in certain parts of India, in certain circles, say, do you have a Prabhu? Yes, I have a Prabhu. That means Guru. Guru, Lord, etc., Master. Yes, I have a Prabhu. And one of the names popular with Sahajiyas, Jata Goshayas, Prabhupada. They like that name very much, Prabhupada. So Saraswati Thakur, one of his Jata Goshai disciples, Aprakrita Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, because he was Nityananda Vangsha, coming in the line of Nityananda Prabhu, and he knows they're calling their gurus Prabhupada. They're calling Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada so that people won't think he's any less than one of these gurus. But I met one of them once and went to their house, and they were worshipping this portrait of Mahaprabhu and of Nityananda Prabhu, and this man's name was something Prabhupada, and he had a wife and children, and his little boy was crawling on the floor, and he crawled up to me, and the father said, oh, that's Sukadev Prabhupada. I thought, he's Prabhupada too? Oh. He's like, yeah. like, Sukadev Prabhupada. Okay. But anyway, so he said, we only say Prabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, Mahaprabhu. But he didn't understand. We heard from Srila Prabhupada, later echoed by Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev. A Mahabhagavata Guru doesn't accept anyone, see anyone as disciple. They think that so-called disciples are vaibhav or expansions, extensions of their own guru. And that actually they're there to serve the disciple. They're the so-called master, teacher and student, but they're saying, really, my seva is to serve the student, is to serve the disciple. Like today is, Easter Sunday, right? Is it? Okay, all right. You're looking at me like, oh, bunch of heathens. No, I'm kidding. And just to say one thing about Jesus Christ in this regard, Guru Maharaj said a few things here and there. I'm not going to speak at length about that. But one thing he liked that he observed, he said, when Jesus, there's one pastime where he washes the feet of his disciples. And the way I heard it when I was a child was not only did he wash their feet, but they say like with his hair he dried their feet. Right? So Guru Maharaj said this idea that what is supposed to be objectionable in you, meaning the disciple, right? The Guru, the Lord, Prabhu, he's going to cleanse that. That's his seva, is to cleanse the undesirable aspects that we've acquired, the acquired prejudices, acquired tendencies. So from this perspective, it's seva, it's servant. So the Guru is the servant of the disciple. Elsewhere he said, as the pujari takes a fruit, washes the fruit clean, peels it, and makes it fit to be offered to Krishna. So the Guru's seva is to cleanse the disciple of all impurities and make them fit for divine service. So Saraswati Thakur, seeing his disciples as vaibhav or extension of his Guru, addressed them as Prabhu. So it was unheard of that a Guru would call his disciple Prabhu. Up to this point, only the disciples were calling Guru Prabhu. So they could not understand the divine vision of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who really, sincerely, earnestly, deep from within the heart's core, addressed his disciples as Prabhu. Dashoshmi, saying, I am your servant. And Mahaprabhu then would be Guru Rupa Hrim Gauram Radha Ruchi Ruchavratam Nityam Nomi Navadvipe Nama Kirtana Nartanai. The Guru Rupa of Hari is Gauranga. Right? Guru Rupam Harim Gauram, Gauranga. Mahaprabhu Gauranga Sundara, Nagarabara Nityam Nidhir Namabi, Tyakta Sudushita Surepchita Raja Lakshmin. He gave up the imperial throne of the love in the heart of Vishnu Priya to Dharmist Arjabachasarya Mayam Rigam Doita Ipsitam Amvad Davad, to chase, mercifully chase after those souls who are running after Maya. We're running after Maya, he's running after us. Mahaprabhu Gauranga Sundar. So we hear, maybe in the songs of Narottam Thakur come to mind, Mahaprabhu. Any other question? Okay.
May I ask?
Yeah.
Where is, I heard Mahaprabhu is Krishna with heart and heart of Srimati Radharani, but where is this distributional aspect of Mahaprabhu coming from?
That's a very good question. Rupa Goswami is saying, Namo Mahabharanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate, Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Nama. Guru Maharaj will say, what is the nature of Sri Chaitanya avatar? Because previously, just as Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan Krishna appears once in a day of Brahma, so this Mahaprabhu that you say, Radha Bhava Dyuti, heart and halo, enveloped of Radharani, appears once in a day of Brahma, after the Krishna appears. Other Mahaprabhu in other ages, they're doing Nam Sankirtan and distributing Krishna Nam, but are not in the Radha Bhav mode and aspect. So, when asked by one devotee, somewhat puzzled, thought, it's too inconceivably wonderful what Mahaprabhu is doing, and we seem so undeserving of that sort of gift. Why did he decide to do this? And Guru Maharaj's response was to say, this is the nature of Sri Chaitanya Avatar. When we say most magnanimous, he prefaced this by saying, what should he distribute? Stone chips? He said, no, he will distribute not only something that he conceives valuable, but what he conceives most valuable. So what that is Prem and Krishna Prem. And what is he tasting? Mahabhav, heart and halo of Radharani. He's tasting what she tastes. Sri Radhaya, Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho Vaneva. What she alone tastes, he's now tasting that. And he's thinking, there's nothing better than this. I want everyone to taste this divine substance. So, Nityam Nijar Namavi means what he's tasting, he wants to distribute that. Not that I'm going to taste Mahabhav and give them something. They'll be very happy with what I give, but it won't be what I'm tasting. No, he's thinking, I'm going to give you exactly what I'm tasting. Whereas we're told only Radharani and Mahaprabhu can taste Mahabhav, And Guru Maharaj said, Radharani, out of gratitude to her servitors, turned and said, here, taste what we're relishing on our plate. So that's the highest thing being given to the lowest people. And that's the nature of Sri Chaitanya Avatar. So his compulsion is to share what he's tasting as the best and the highest, to extend it to others. And that's where the Odarja aspect comes in. Normally, we're all Krishna Lila Amrita Sar, Tar Shata Shatadar. Krishna Lila is Amrita Sar, the cream, the essence of all nectarine substance. But it's reserved for the highest section of liberated souls. That's why we hear at the end of Upadeshamritam, Premaika, Bhakta Nishta, Parama, different gradations of devotees are being given. Narada, Uddhava, etc. So we're told, Prestalibi, and then those confidential servitors, the Sakis who are assisting Radharani in that group, how the waters of Radha Kunda are a rare achievement for them. So it's showing some structure and gradation and indicating how rare it is to come in connection with this highest sort of divine substance. What does it say? Asulabha Kim Punar Bhakti Bhajam, something like that. Yad Preshtam Alay. I forget exactly what I'm saying. So if it's a rare achievement for them, then what to speak of other devotees? But Mahaprabhu and Chaitanya Lila, he's distributing this freely to everyone who will accept it, who can appreciate it and accept it. So Rupa Goswami says in the beginning, Kaviraj Goswami quoting Rupa Goswami in the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita saying, Anarpita charim chirat korna avatirna kalo samar paitam unatojvala rasam swabhakti sriyam. What was never given before is now being given by Mahaprabhu. So he's come. Remember, in the other times he comes, Nam Sankirtan. But in this one time, after Krishna, Bhagavan Krishna appears, now he appears, this time is Aswadhyena Bhuta Madhurima. He wants to taste what she's tasting, experience what she's tasting, and decides to distribute that to others. So it hasn't been given previously, it's only being given now by him in this most magnanimous gesture. And we could say, just for the sake of analysis, well, why not in the other ones he's not in that tasting position? But now that he's tasting this, what is the natural outcome? If we're tasting something very, very nice, you know, have you tried this? You got to try this. This is unbelievable. It's something like that. He wants others to relish what's beyond their constitutional capacity as jiva souls to experience. That means it's impossible. Impossible. Impossible things are the best, actually. What's possible, why should we be interested in that? But what's impossible, that is interesting. Krishna is the impossible of impossible things. Krishna distributing Mahaprabhu, Mahabhav. Radha Bhavaduti Subalita Nomi Krishna Swarupam. But a good approach is Nityananda Prabhu. Because when Nityananda Prabhu, we're told, he's so intoxicated with Krishna Prem, he doesn't realize how fallen we are. It's when the fallen souls can sneak in, because he is relishing Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And as I mentioned that time in South Africa, telling the group, because I just heard Guru Maharaj say that, and Nityananda Prabhu is going door to door, trying to bring people in connection with this divine substance, and saying, you know, all you have to say is, I want it. Right? And some little boy way in the back of the room stood and goes, I want it! Because I said, all you have to say is, I want it. He said, I want it. So from the heart of a child, he can understand. I don't understand everything they're talking about here, but it's something very divine and wonderful. And he said, all you have to do is say, I want it, and then you get it. Then I want to go on record right now and tell everybody, I want it. Put me down as wanting it. Satsanga sevadirninam samsaresmin kanardopi. Satsanga sevadirninam. In this world of Maya samsara, birth after birth after birth after birth after birth. Those who are fortunate get the most valuable treasure. Satsanga sevadirninam. Those who can bring you in connection with this divine substance. That is their happiness. Those who know what it is substantially will feel some pain in their heart that others are deprived. Like, such nectar is to be had, and people are, in a parched desert in want of a drop. Vanchitosmi, vanchitosmi, vanchitosmi nasangshaya, vishwa gora rase magnam sparshopi mamanabhavat. Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur said, I've been cheated, I've been cheated, I've been cheated. Of this there is no doubt. Mahaprabhu flooded the world with Krishna prema, and I wasn't touched by a drop. But Guru Maharaj said, what does that mean? Prabodhananda Saraswati, Tunga Vidya Saki, one of the Asta Sakis, she's saying this. He said, because what it really means is it points to her necessity and capacity. What's a flood for others isn't a drop to her. He said, like the elephant and the ant. What is the requirements of an elephant? That type of foodstuff, because of the magnitude of hunger and hankering. So the great devotees who have so much genuine hunger and hankering can say something like that. I wasn't touched by a drop. He said the whole place was flooded, but for you. So if we can even remotely come in connection with those who express such sentiments, which we can by the grace, the mercy of our Guru Varga, their gracious, what does it say on the sign down? Grace extended. Right? Around the corner, it says that on the sign. Grace extended. Philosophy, community, and there's one other thing. But I like, it says grace extended. The agents for the extension of grace, Sadhu Shastra, Guru Vaishnava. Hare Krishna.